The cleanup took 3 days. Human repair ships worked around the clock to fix the damaged alien vessel. Engineering crews led by Min-Ho Lee crawled through every section of Harmony's light, replacing broken systems and patching hull breaches. They worked with quiet efficiency, asking no questions and expecting no payment. Captain Veltar watched them work from the observation deck. The humans were strange beings. They looked fragile compared to his own people, with their soft skin and small bodies. But he had seen what they could do when threatened. They fought like the ancient gods of war from his people's legends. "Captain," said his communications officer Kasara, "the human admiral is requesting permission to come aboard." Veltar straightened his uniform. This would be the first time a human had set foot on a Federation vessel. "Permission granted. Have the senior staff meet us in conference room 1. 20 minutes later, Admiral Hyunwoo Kim walked through the airlock of Harmony's light. He was smaller than Veltar had expected, dressed in a simple blue uniform with silver insignia. Behind him came a small group of officers: the tactical specialist Ji-Hai Park, the communications expert Soo-Jin Choi, and a young woman Veltar did not recognize. "Captain Veltar," Hyunwoo said, extending his hand in the human greeting. "It's an honor to meet you in person." Veltar carefully shook the offered hand. The human's grip was firm but not aggressive. "Admiral Kim, I cannot express how grateful we are. You saved 847 lives." "Just doing our job," Hyunwoo replied. He gestured to the young woman beside him. "This is my daughter, Captain Haewon Kim. She'll be staying behind to establish our first diplomatic mission." Veltar looked at the young woman with surprise. She appeared to be in her early 30s with the same calm confidence as her father. "Captain Kim, welcome aboard." "Thank you, Captain Veltar. I'm looking forward to learning about your people." They walked together to the conference room, where Veltar's senior staff was waiting. The humans took their seats without ceremony, as if this was a routine meeting instead of a historic first contact. "Admiral," Veltar began, "I must ask about these creatures we encountered. Do you know what they were?" Hyunwoo nodded grimly. "We've been analyzing the remains. Our best guess is that they were some kind of ancient weapon system, probably built by a species that destroyed itself long ago. They were designed to consume everything in their path and grow stronger. The ultimate doomsday weapon," added Ji-Hai Park. "Once activated, they would keep spreading until they consumed entire galaxies." The alien officers looked horrified. Science Officer Morden coiled his snake-like body tighter around his chair. "How many more of these things might be out there?" "Unknown," Hyunwoo admitted. "But if there are more, we'll deal with them the same way we dealt with these." Communications. Specialist Soo-Jin Choi activated a small device on the table. "Captain Veltar, we've established contact with your Federation Council. They want to speak with you." The main conference screen lit up, showing an assembly of alien beings from across the galaxy. Veltar recognized the High Chancellor, an ancient being from the eldest race. Her crystalline form sparkled with inner light as she spoke. "Captain Veltar, we have received reports of your situation. Are you saying that human forces destroyed the entities that consumed our fleet?" "Yes, High Chancellor. Without their intervention, my ship and crew would have been lost." There was a long pause. Then another voice spoke up. It was Admiral Zeth Kun of the Federation Navy, a warrior from the proud hegemony species. "These humans used nuclear weapons in space combat. They deployed kinetic bombardment without warning. Their tactics were disturbing." Admiral Hyunwoo remained calm. "We used the minimum force necessary to neutralize the threat. Our priority was saving lives, not following your combat protocols." "Minimum force?" Admiral Zethkun's voice rose. "You deployed planet-killing weapons against enemies that had already consumed 17 of your ships and an entire planet," Hyunwoo replied evenly. "Would you prefer we had used harsh language instead?" Captain Veltar spoke up. "High Chancellor, Admiral Zethkun, with respect, these humans saved us when no one else could. Their methods may be unfamiliar, but they were effective." The High Chancellor's light pulsed thoughtfully. "Admiral Kim, your species has been quarantined for 50 years. We have kept you isolated because we feared your violent nature. Today, you have proven both our fears and our need for your abilities. Hyunwoo leaned back in his chair. High Chancellor, we never wanted to be isolated. We're explorers by nature. We want to learn, to trade, to make friends among the stars, but we won't apologize for being good at protecting ourselves and others. The quarantine will be lifted, the High Chancellor announced, but there must be conditions, restrictions on your military vessels, limits on your weapon systems. No. The single word fell like a hammer in the conference room. Every alien present stared at the human admiral. I beg your pardon? The High Chancellor asked. I said no, Hyunwoo repeated calmly. We'll be happy to join your federation as equals. We'll follow your laws, respect your customs, and contribute to the common good. But we won't disarm ourselves to make you feel better. Admiral Zethkun's voice was harsh. You cannot expect us to simply accept armed Deathworlders in our midst. You already have, Hyunwoo pointed out. Every species in your federation is armed. You have weapons, warships, and military forces. The only difference is that ours work better. Captain Haewon Kim spoke for the first time. High Chancellor, if I may suggest a compromise, we could establish a human embassy ship here in neutral space, a place where Federation representatives could meet with human diplomats. Over time, as trust builds, we could expand the relationship. The High Chancellor considered this. What class of vessel are you proposing? A converted cruiser, Haewon replied. The New Soul. It carries diplomatic facilities, medical bays, and cultural exchange programs, plus enough defensive weapons to protect itself if necessary. Defensive weapons only, Admiral Zethkun insisted. Of course, Haewon agreed. Just enough firepower to level a small city, for defensive purposes only. Veltar almost smiled. The young human woman had the same dry sense of humor as her father. The negotiation continued for another hour. In the end, they reached an agreement. Humans would be allowed to establish diplomatic missions in Federation space. Trade agreements would be negotiated. Cultural exchanges would be arranged, but human military vessels would remain in Sol system except in cases of extreme emergency. After the Federation Council ended their communication, the humans prepared to leave. Admiral Hyunwoo shook hands with each of the alien officers. Captain Veltar, he said, thank you for taking the risk to contact us. You opened a door that's been closed for 50 years. Thank you for answering our call, Veltar replied. I have one more question, if I may. Of course. Your people have been isolated for half a century. You could have ignored our distress signal. You could have left us to die. Why did you risk everything to save strangers? Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. Captain, on Earth we have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. You called for help. We are good people. What else were we going to do? As the human ships prepared to return to Earth, Captain Haewon Kim remained behind on the newly designated embassy vessel New Soul. She would be humanity's first ambassador to the galaxy, building bridges between Earth and the stars. Captain Veltar made one final entry in his ship's log. First contact with humanity completed. Initial fears proven both correct and irrelevant. They are indeed dangerous. They are also honorable, protective, and surprisingly gentle with those weaker than themselves. The galaxy is safer with them as friends rather than prisoners. End log. In the weeks that followed, the story of the Battle of Helios Nebula spread throughout Federation space. Some species were terrified by the humans' military capabilities. Others were impressed by their willingness to risk everything for strangers. But everyone understood one fundamental truth. The galaxy had changed forever. The age of peaceful exploration would continue, protected by those who had never known peace. The Deathworlders had come to the stars at last, and the stars would never be the same. The battle was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved through space with deadly purpose, their weapons firing in perfect coordination. Each shot was planned. Each explosion was calculated. This was not the wild violence the Federation expected from Deathworlders. This was war as a science. Aboard Harmony's Light, Captain Veltar watched the tactical display with growing amazement. The humans had turned the tide of battle in less than 10 minutes. Creatures that had destroyed his entire fleet were being torn apart by simple kinetic weapons and conventional explosives. "How is this possible?" asked his science officer Morden. "Our most advanced energy weapons could not even scratch these beings." "They are using primitive technology," Veltar replied. "Solid projectiles, chemical explosives, nuclear fusion, weapons we abandoned thousands of years ago." But even as he said it, Veltar knew he was wrong. These weapons were not primitive. They were refined, perfected. The humans had taken simple concepts and made them devastatingly effective. The largest creature was fighting back now. Its tentacles lashed out at the human ships, trying to grab them and drain their energy. But the human vessels were armored like fortresses. When the tentacles struck Sol's hammer, they scraped harmlessly across its thick hull. "Hull integrity at 98%, reported Engineering Chief Min-Ho Lee. "That thing hits like a wet noodle," Admiral Hyun-Woo Kim almost laughed. His ship was built to survive direct nuclear strikes. A creature that fed on energy was not much of a threat to something designed to fight other humans. "Ji-Hai, target the creature's central mass. All kinetic batteries, yes sir, firing." The Dreadnought's main gun spoke again. 8 massive kinetic cannons fired in sequence, sending tungsten rods the size of telephone poles into the creature's core. Each impact sent shock waves through its body. Black ichor sprayed into space as vital organs were destroyed. But the creature was not dead yet. It was learning. Armor plates began forming over its wounds. Its tentacles grew thicker and stronger. Even as the humans damaged it, it was adapting. "Sir," Ji-Hai reported, "the target is regenerating. It's growing new armor to protect against kinetic strikes." "Interesting," Hyun-Woo said. "Min-Ho, what's the status on our special package?" "Planet Cracker warhead is ready for deployment," the engineering chief replied. "But sir, we'd need to get it inside the creature's hull for maximum effect." "Leave that to the Marines, Colonel." Hyjin Lim and her assault team were already approaching the largest creature in their armored dropships. Each Marine wore powered armor that could survive in the vacuum of space or the crushing depths of an ocean. Their weapons were simple but effective: railguns that fired metal slugs, and explosive charges that relied on chemical reactions rather than energy. Phoenix Actual. "This is Marine Leader," Hyjin reported over the radio. "Beginning boarding operation. These things have some kind of natural airlock system. We're going in." The creature's hull was covered in openings that looked like mouths. As the Marines approached, these openings began to close. But the humans were ready for that. They fired shaped charges that blasted new holes in the creature's armor. "Breach achieved," called out Sergeant Jinwoo Park. Moving into the interior. "Sir, it's like being inside a living ship. The walls are pulsing." Inside the creature, the Marines found a nightmare landscape of organic machinery. Corridors made of flesh and metal stretched in all directions. Strange lights pulsed along the walls like veins carrying luminous blood. The air was thick and humid, filled with the smell of decay and ozone. "Stay together," Hyjin ordered. "We need to find the central nervous system or whatever passes for a brain in this thing." The Marines moved through the creature's body like antibodies fighting an infection. When smaller organisms tried to attack them, they destroyed them with precise gunfire. When passages blocked their way, they blasted through with explosives. Meanwhile, the space battle continued to rage outside. Commander Young-Soo Jang's fighters were systematically destroying the smaller creatures. The pilots had figured out the secret: keep moving and keep shooting. The creatures could adapt to energy weapons, but they had trouble with old-fashioned bullets fired at high speed. "Phoenix 2 to Phoenix Leader," called pilot Woo Jin Han. "I'm seeing something strange. The dead creatures are dissolving. Their remains are being absorbed by the larger ones." Young-Soo looked at his tactical display. The veteran pilot was right. As the smaller creatures died, their bodies turned to liquid and flowed toward the remaining giants. Each death made the survivors stronger. "All fighters, priority target the large ones," Young-Soo ordered. "Don't let them absorb the smaller ones." Captain Taemin Yoon aboard Busan's Fury had reached the same conclusion. "Admiral, recommend we focus fire on the remaining large targets. They're using the dead ones to regenerate." "Agreed," Hyun-Woo replied. "All ships concentrate fire. Let's finish this." The 3 human dreadnoughts formed a battle line and opened fire with everything they had. Kinetic cannons thundered. Missile tubes launched conventional warheads. Even the point defense guns joined in, spraying bullets at the creature's vulnerable spots. The aliens aboard Harmony's Light watched in awe as the humans demonstrated the art of overkill. These were not the careful surgical strikes that Federation forces preferred. This was overwhelming firepower applied without mercy or restraint. They fight like their world made them, Veltar said quietly. No quarter asked, none given. Inside the largest creature, the Marines had found what they were looking for. In the center of the beast was a massive chamber filled with pulsing organs and glowing neural networks. This was the creature's brain, if it could be called that. Marine leader to Phoenix Actual, He-Jin reported. We found the target. Planning charges now. The Marines worked quickly, placing explosive devices throughout the creature's central nervous system. These were not energy weapons. They were simple chemical explosives that would destroy tissue through heat and shock waves. Charges set. All teams fall back to extraction point. As the Marines retreated through the creature's body, they could feel it beginning to react. The walls around them pulsed faster. Strange sounds echoed through the organic corridors. The creature knew it was dying. Extraction in 30 seconds, called the dropship pilot. Move it, Marines! The Marines reached the extraction point just as their charges detonated. The explosions rippled through the creature's nervous system like lightning. Its movements became erratic. Its attacks on the human ships grew weak and unfocused. Direct hit on central nervous system, Ji-Hai reported from Sol's Hammer. The target is losing coordination. All ships finish it, Hyunwoo ordered. The 3 dreadnoughts fired together. Dozens of kinetic rounds struck the dying creature from all directions. Its armor cracked. Its organs burst. Black blood poured into space as the giant beast finally died. The remaining creatures, smaller now and without their largest leader, tried to retreat, but there was nowhere to run. The human fighters chased them down one by one, their pilots showing no mercy. In less than an hour, the battle was over. The space around Harmony's Light was filled with the dissolving remains of the ancient war machines. The humans had done what an entire Federation fleet could not. They had destroyed the unstoppable creatures. Phoenix Actual to Harmony's Light, Admiral Hyunwoo said over the radio. Threat neutralized. How is your ship's condition? Captain Veltar took a moment to respond. He was still trying to understand what he had witnessed. Admiral Kim, we are badly damaged but alive. All of us, thanks to you. Good to hear. We're sending repair ships to help with your life support. Our medical teams are also standing by if you need assistance. Admiral, Veltar said slowly, I have to ask. Your species has been quarantined for 50 years. We were told you were too dangerous for contact with civilized worlds, but you came to help us. Why? Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he answered simply, You said you had children aboard. The bridge of Harmony's Light fell silent. In that moment, every alien on the ship understood something important about humans. They were dangerous, yes. They were violent and powerful beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. But they were also capable of kindness. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace like thunder in the void. One moment, empty space surrounded the dying alien ship. The next moment, 15 massive vessels appeared in flashes of brilliant light. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stared at the main screen aboard Sol's Hammer. What he saw made his blood run cold. The alien research ship Harmony's Light drifted helpless in space. Its hull cracked in bleeding atmosphere, but that was not the worst part. The worst part was the things surrounding it. Sweet Mother of Earth, whispered Tactical Officer Ji-Hai Park. What are those things? The creatures were like nothing in human memory. They moved through space without ships, their black bodies pulsing with stolen energy. Some were small, no bigger than fighters. Others were huge, the size of destroyers or cruisers. The largest one was as big as a space station, its surface covered in writhing tentacles and glowing eyes. Biological and mechanical components detected, reported Engineering Chief Min-Ho Lee. They're absorbing energy from the alien ship's reactors. Growing larger. How many? Hyunwoo asked. 47 contacts, Ji-Hai replied, ranging from small fighters to that big one. Sir, some of them are feeding on the wreckage of other ships. Hyunwoo could see the debris field now. Pieces of Federation vessels floated in space like grave markers. 17 ships, the alien captain had said, an entire fleet destroyed by these nightmare creatures. Open a channel to the alien ship, he ordered. Communications specialist Soo-Jin Choi worked her controls. Channel open, sir. Harmony's Light, this is Admiral Kim of the Terran Defense Force. We received your distress call. The response came immediately. The alien voice was filled with surprise and relief. Admiral Kim, thank the void you came. I am Captain Veltar. These creatures have destroyed our entire battle fleet. They adapt to our weapons. Our energy shields only make them stronger. Copy that, Captain. What can you tell us about their capabilities? They consume all forms of matter and energy, Veltar explained. The more they eat, the larger they grow. They have some kind of collective intelligence. When we destroyed the smaller ones, the larger ones learned from our attacks. On the bridge of Busan's Fury, Captain Taemin Yoon was listening to the conversation. Admiral, he said over the radio, recommend we keep our distance until we understand what we're dealing with. But Hyunwoo was already studying the tactical display. Jihe analysis. Biological mechanical hybrid entities, she reported. Energy absorption capabilities confirmed. They're surrounding the alien ship like they're getting ready to feed. Recommend immediate engagement before they consume the vessel. The largest creature was moving closer to Harmony's light. Its tentacles reached out toward the damaged hull. Hyunwoo could hear the fear in the alien captain's voice as he reported failing systems and hull breaches. Sir, said Captain Veltar, I must warn you. These creatures destroyed 17 of our most advanced warships. Our weapons were completely ineffective. Perhaps you should retreat while you still can. Hyunwoo almost smiled. The alien captain was trying to save them from the same fate that had befallen his own fleet. He did not understand that humans did not retreat from fights, especially when children were in danger. Captain Veltar, Hyunwoo said, you called for help. We're here to provide it. I suggest you move your ship away from those creatures. We're about to solve your problem. But Admiral, you don't understand. They absorb energy weapons. They grow stronger from plasma and ion attacks. They cannot be stopped. Good thing we don't use those, Hyunwoo replied. He switched to the fleet channel. All ships, this is Admiral Kim. We have hostile contacts surrounding a friendly vessel. Rules of engagement are weapons-free. These things like to eat energy. So we're going kinetic and nuclear. Captain Shin, your ship has the heaviest missiles. You're up first. Aboard Incheon's Wrath, Captain Donghyun Shin grinned as he received the orders. Weapons Officer Bo Ram Song, prepare nuclear strike package. Full spread. Lieutenant Bo Ram Song's fingers danced over her controls. Nuclear missiles armed and ready, sir. Targeting the largest creatures. Fire. 20 nuclear missiles launched from Incheon's Wrath. They streaked through space like falling stars, their fusion warheads designed to crack asteroids and destroy fortified positions. The aliens aboard Harmony's Light watched in horror as the humans casually deployed weapons that could sterilize entire planets. The missiles struck their targets in a series of brilliant explosions. Nuclear fire bloomed in the void, each blast carrying the power of a small sun. The smaller creatures vanished instantly, vaporized by temperatures that melted steel. But the larger ones survived. Their black hulls glowed as they absorbed the nuclear energy. They grew larger, stronger. New tentacles sprouted from their bodies. New weapons formed along their surfaces. Energy absorption confirmed, Jihe reported. The large ones are growing stronger from the nuclear strikes. Captain Veltar's voice filled the bridge. Admiral, I tried to warn you. They cannot be destroyed by energy weapons. Phase 2, Hyunwoo said calmly. This time it was Captain Taemin's turn. Busan's Fury turned toward the largest creature, its massive kinetic cannons rotating into position. These weapons did not fire energy or plasma. They fired solid metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds. Kinetic strike package ready, Taemin reported. Fire at will. The kinetic cannons spoke with voices like thunder. Tungsten rods, each one weighing several tons, shot from the ship's guns at speeds that bent space around them. They carried more kinetic energy than the nuclear missiles, but it was pure physical force. No energy to absorb, no heat to feed on, just raw, crushing impact. The rods punched through the largest creature's hull like bullets through paper. Black ichor sprayed into space as the thing writhed in agony. For the first time since the battle began, one of the monsters was truly hurt. Direct hit, Jihe called out. Massive internal damage to target 1. It's actually wounded. The other creatures turned toward the human fleet. They had been ignoring the new arrivals, focused on the helpless alien ship. Now they recognized a real threat incoming, Minho shouted. Multiple contacts accelerating toward our position. All fighters launch, Hyunwoo ordered. Show these things what Earth pilots can do. Commander Young-Soo Jang led 200 fighters from the carrier ships. His pilots included the best aces in the system. Like Yoon-bi Kim and veteran Woo-jin Han, their fighters were small and fast, armed with kinetic weapons and conventional explosives. "This is Phoenix Leader," Young-Soo reported. "Beginning attack runs on medium-sized targets. Remember, these things eat energy, so keep it simple. Bullets and bombs only." The fighters swarmed around the creatures like angry hornets. Their machine guns fired solid bullets at incredible rates. Their missiles carried conventional explosives, not energy warheads. Each shot was weak compared to the mighty weapons of the capital ships, but there were hundreds of them. The creatures found themselves under attack from all directions at once. They tried to grab the fighters with their tentacles, but the human pilots were too fast and too skilled. They had trained in the asteroid fields of the outer system, dodging rocks the size of buildings at speeds that would kill most organic beings. Good hits, called out pilot Yoon-bi Kim as her bullets tore chunks from a creature's hide. "These things don't like getting shot." Meanwhile, Marine Colonel Hyejin Lim was preparing her own contribution to the battle. "Admiral, request permission to board the largest creature. My Marines can plant explosives inside its hull." "Denied, Colonel. Too dangerous." "Sir, with respect, my people have boarded worse things than this." Hyunwoo knew she was right. Human Marines had fought in the methane storms of Titan and the crushing depths of Europa's oceans. They were trained to fight anywhere under any conditions. Permission granted. "Don't get eaten." "Copy that, sir." As the battle raged around them, the crew of Harmony's Light watched in amazement. The humans fought like no species they had ever seen. No careful tactics, no attempts at communication. Just pure, overwhelming violence applied with scientific precision. And it was working. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim was drinking coffee when the universe changed forever. He sat in his command chair aboard the massive ship Soul's Hammer, watching the stars through the bridge windows. The coffee was black and bitter, just the way he liked it. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. The ship was huge, bigger than most space stations. Its thick armor could survive direct hits from nuclear weapons. Its weapons could crack asteroids in half. This was what humans built when they had nowhere to run. "Sir," said communications specialist Soo-jin Choi. Her voice was excited. "I'm getting something strange. A signal from outside the system." Hyunwoo raised an eyebrow. Nothing had come from outside the Sol system in 50 years. The aliens had made sure of that. They built their wall and left humanity alone in their corner of space. "Put it through," he said. The voice that filled the bridge was unlike anything they had ever heard. It spoke perfect Korean, but the accent was strange. The words were filled with fear and desperation. "This is Captain Veltar of the Federation vessel Harmony's Light. We are under attack by unknown entities. They are consuming all life and matter in their path. Our fleet has been destroyed. We have children aboard. Any assistance would be appreciated." The bridge went silent. Hyunwoo set down his coffee cup and leaned forward. "Play it again." They listened to the message 3 more times. Each time the same desperate plea. The same mention of children. "Sir," said Tactical Officer Ji-Hai Park. "The coordinates put them near the Helios Nebula. That's 47 light-years from here." 47 light-years, repeated Engineering Chief Min-ho Lee. "Our fastest ships could make it in 18 hours, Hyunwoo." Stood up and walked to the main display screen. The star map showed the location of the alien ship. It was far from any inhabited system. Far from help. Analysis, he said. Ji-Hai brought up what little data they had. Unknown entities consuming matter and energy. Destroyed an entire fleet. This could be some kind of weapon system or alien technology. "Or it could be a trap," said Captain Tae Min-yoon. He had joined them on the bridge from his own ship, Busan's Fury. "Think about it, Admiral. For 50 years, they keep us locked in this system. They call us dangerous monsters. Now suddenly they want our help." Hyunwoo nodded. Taemin was right to be suspicious. The Federation had made it clear that humans were not welcome in their galaxy. They were too violent, too dangerous. Better to keep them locked away where they could not hurt anyone. But the message had mentioned children. "Sir," said Soo-jin, "there's something else. I'm detecting massive energy signatures near their position. Whatever is attacking them, it's big." "Really big? How big?" Hyunwoo asked. "Some of the signatures are as large as our dreadnoughts, and they're moving." Hyunwoo closed his eyes and thought. His daughter was about the same age as some of those alien children. If she was trapped on a dying ship surrounded by monsters, he would want someone to help her. Anyone, even monsters like humans. Minho, he said. How many ships can we get ready in 6 hours? The engineering chief grinned. Give me 4 hours and I can have the entire Third Fleet ready to go. 3 dreadnoughts, 2 carriers, and a dozen support ships. Do it. Sir, Taemin said. Are you sure about this? We don't know what we're flying into. Hyunwoo turned to look at his old friend. They had served together for 20 years. They had fought in the asteroid wars, survived the Lunar Rebellion, and lived through the dark years after first contact. Taemin had saved his life more times than he could count. They called us Deathworlders, Hyunwoo said. Let's show them why. The next 4 hours were a whirlwind of activity. Ships across the Sol system received emergency orders. Crews were recalled from leave. Weapons were loaded. Engines were fired up. Commander Young-Soo Jang assembled his fighter squadrons aboard the carrier Seoul's Pride. 200 of the best pilots in the system, flying the deadliest fighters humanity had ever built. Each fighter carried enough firepower to level a city. Marine Colonel Hyejin Lim gathered her assault troops aboard the carrier New Busan. 3,000 soldiers in powered armor, trained to fight in the worst conditions imaginable. They had fought in the deep caves of Pluto, the burning storms of Venus, and the frozen hell of Europa. They feared nothing. The 3rd dreadnought Incheon's Wrath was commanded by Captain Dong-hyun Shin. He was the youngest captain in the fleet, but his ship carried the most powerful weapons. Nuclear missiles that could destroy continents, kinetic cannons that could punch holes through mountains. As the ships prepared to leave, Hyunwoo sent a message to Earth Command. Admiral Sarah Chen herself appeared on the screen. She was old now, with gray hair and tired eyes. But her voice was still strong. Hyunwoo, she said, I know what you're thinking. But remember, this could change everything. If we help them, there's no going back. I know, Admiral. But there are children out there. Sarah nodded slowly. Then go. Show them what Earth's children can do. The ships formed up in space beyond Mars. 3 giant dreadnoughts, their hulls black as night and covered in weapons. 2 carriers filled with fighters and marines. Destroyers, cruisers, supply ships. The most powerful fleet humanity had ever assembled. Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of Seoul's Hammer and looked at his crew. Ji-hai Park was ready at the weapons console. Min-ho Lee had the engines running at full power. Soo-jin Choi was monitoring all communications. All ships report ready, said Captain Taemin over the radio. Then let's go save some aliens, Hyunwoo said. The fleet jumped to hyperspace in a blaze of light. Behind them, Earth spun in its orbit, blue and beautiful and deadly. Ahead of them lay the unknown. Monsters that could destroy entire fleets. Aliens who had feared them for 50 years. But there were children in danger. And that was all that mattered. As the ships raced through hyperspace, their crews prepared for war. Weapons were charged. Armor was checked. Plans were made. They were humans from Earth, the death world that had forged them in fire and blood. They were coming to help. The galaxy was about to learn what that really meant. The lights were dying on the Federation ship Harmony's light. Captain Veltar pressed his 6-fingered hand against the cold metal wall and felt the vibrations getting weaker. The engines had stopped 3 hours ago. The air was getting thin and cold. Veltar walked through the dark hallways of his ship. His blue skin looked pale in the emergency lighting. Behind him, his long tail dragged on the floor. He was tired. Very tired. But he had to keep moving. His crew needed him. The bridge was quiet when he arrived. Only the soft beeping of failing systems could be heard. His communications officer, a young luminari named Kasara, looked up from her station. Her large silver eyes were full of fear. Captain, she said in a whisper, the creatures are getting closer. They have consumed the research station on Kethmaran. Everything is gone. Veltar nodded slowly. He had seen it happen through the long-range sensors. The ancient planet had been peaceful when they arrived. Green forest covered most of the surface. Clear blue oceans sparkled in the sunlight. The ruins they came to study were old but harmless, or so they thought. The dig team had found something deep underground, something that should have stayed buried. When they opened the sealed chamber, everything changed. Black shapes poured out of the ground like living shadows. But these were not shadows. They were machines. Ancient war machines that had been sleeping for thousands of years. The machines were hungry. They ate everything. Plants, animals, rocks, metal, energy. Everything they consumed made them bigger and stronger. Within hours, the beautiful planet became a dead rock. Then the machines turned their attention to the ships in orbit. The Federation fleet tried to fight. 17 ships with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. It did not matter. The machines learned from every attack. Energy weapons made them stronger. Plasma beams were absorbed and redirected. Even the powerful ion cannons did nothing except feed the growing monsters. One by one, the Federation ships were consumed. The crews tried to escape in smaller ships, but the machines were fast. Too fast. Only Harmony's light survived. And only because they shut down all their systems and drifted in space like a dead rock. But now the machines had found them. How long do we have? Veltar asked. Kessera checked her instruments. 2 hours, maybe less. The largest creature is the size of a moon now. It's heading straight for us. Veltar closed his eyes. 847 crew members. Scientists, engineers, doctors, teachers. Families with children. All depending on him to save them. But there was nothing he could do. The Federation's rescue ships were days away. Even if they came, they would just become food for the machines. Sir, said another voice. It was Morden, the ship's science officer. He was from a species called the Helix. His snake-like body was coiled around his chair. I have an idea, but you will not like it. Tell me. The quarantine system, Seoul. The Deathworld system. They have ships there. Strong ships. Veltar felt his blood run cold. Everyone in the galaxy knew about Seoul. It was a small yellow star with several planets. One of those planets was a nightmare world called Earth. The creatures that lived there were called humans. They were monsters. The galaxy had discovered Earth 50 years ago. The first contact teams were horrified by what they found. A world where everything tried to kill everything else. Deadly weather, poisonous plants, aggressive animals, and worst of all, the humans themselves. They fought wars constantly. They built weapons that could destroy entire planets. They were too dangerous to join the peaceful Federation. So the galaxy built a wall around the Sol system. No ships could enter or leave. The humans were trapped on their death world and the galaxy was safe from them. We cannot contact them, Veltar said. It is forbidden. Sir, Morden replied, we are all going to die anyway. The Federation fleet is gone. These machines will consume our ship and everyone on it. Then they will spread to other systems. Other worlds. Billions will die. Veltar looked around the bridge. His crew was listening. They all knew Morden was right. The machines would not stop with one ship. They would keep eating until the entire galaxy was gone. The humans are violent, Kessera said quietly, but they have children too. Maybe they will help children. Veltar thought about his own daughter. She was in the school section of the ship, with the other young ones. She was only 12 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. If the machines came, she would not even understand what was happening. He made his decision. Kessera, open a channel to the Sol system. Sir, are you sure? Do it. Kessera's fingers moved over her control panel. It took several minutes to break through the quarantine barriers. Finally, she nodded. Channel open, sir. Veltar took a deep breath. He had never spoken to a human before. He did not know if they would even understand his language. But he had to try. This is Captain Veltar of the Federation vessel Harmony's Light. We are under attack by unknown entities. They are consuming all life and matter in their path. Our fleet has been destroyed. We have children aboard. Any assistance would be appreciated. He paused, then added the coordinates of their location. Please, he whispered. If anyone can hear this, please help us. The transmission went out into space, racing toward the forbidden system at the speed of light. Veltar turned off the transmitter and sat down in his captain's chair. His crew looked at him with worry and hope. What do we do now? Kessera asked. We wait, Veltar said, and we pray that the monsters we fear are less terrible than the monsters that are coming for us. Outside the ship, the first of the ancient machines appeared on the sensors. It was the size of a space station, covered in black metal and pulsing organic tissue. Behind it came others, dozens of them, all hungry, all coming toward the helpless Federation ship. The message was racing through space toward Earth, but Earth was far away. Too far. The machines would arrive in less than 2 hours. Veltar closed his eyes and waited for the end.